Thanks very much for joining us. Today we're marking the 6th anniversary of the murder of investigative journalist Ján Kuciak, who was shot dead at his home together with his fiancée Martina Kuznirova. Um, you now work in the same newsroom as Jan did for the investigative reporting outlet Actuality. I'm wondering, how are you and your colleagues approaching the anniversary, and what do you expect to get from it?
Well, we are commemorating Ján's and Martina's death every year. This year, it is going to be by a special event with a lot of invited guests, and it's going to be a lot of, or several discussion panels. We are going to also commemorate him with a new book on the case written by one of my colleagues. Last year it was a movie that we premiered on the anniversary. So this year it is going to be a book about the case that is not really finished yet, since it's still at the courts. But there are a lot of interesting developments and background stories in the book. So probably the book is the main story of this year's anniversary. And of course, we also invited Ján's and Martina's parents to the event, and there will be an interview with Ján's father in Actuality. So that's what I can say about the anniversary.
Okay, well, thank you. I imagine this is going to be both a very emotional day for everybody, but also a really, really important day, and hopefully there's celebration. Perhaps you could just sort of remind us of the circumstances around Jan's death, and why Marian Kochner was charged with masterminding his murder, and why it is that he hasn't been found guilty.
Well, the murder took place in 2018 while Robert Fico, the current prime minister in Slovakia, was in power the last time. He had to step down after the murder because, as it was later discovered, there was a network of cronies, let's say, in which Marian Kochner also had his place. And he is still the main suspect of ordering the murder. He actually was not sentenced because there is no direct evidence against Marian Kochner. But the hitmen were sentenced and they are already serving their sentence. The middleman was sentenced and he's already serving. And then there is a woman connected to Marian Kochner who was also sentenced for ordering the murder and for paying for the murder as well. But she appealed, and her case will be decided probably this year, and she decided not to testify against Kochner. So all these murderers from below the line, or from the hitmen and the middlemen, they testified against Ms. Žužová, but she didn't testify on Marian Kochner. So there is no direct evidence against Marian Kochner that he is the one who gave money to Ms. Žužová, who paid to the hitmen. So probably that's the biggest problem, that we haven't seen direct evidence. There is only indirect evidence. There are messages between Marian Kochner and Mrs. Žužová. They texted each other probably about the murder in code language. There is a testimony of an expert on code language that yes, these people talk about the murder, just it was not enough for the court to sentence Marian Kochner for ordering the murder yet. There will be a retrial probably this year, probably around summer, and we will see how the Supreme Court will judge the case.
Thank you. I wonder if you could compare the political atmosphere in 2018 to the political atmosphere today, and the sort of growing hostility used against journalists, and what impact that has on you.
I would say the atmosphere is not the same, but very similar to 2018. We are once again in the situation where there are everyday attacks on journalists. I mean, verbal attacks from politicians. Some journalists, they even I have a colleague that she doesn't really sleep well because she is in fear that, on when police is going to show up and take her to custody, because well, that's what Robert Fico said on his press conference, that maybe there was an organized group of journalists plotting against Slovakia or the Smer government. So really, some of the journalists do not really sleep well because they are in fear for what Robert Fico has said he's going to do as a revenge. So in one sense, the atmosphere is similar to 2018. In another sense, I would say it's even worse. We are even a bit further into the atmosphere of hostility, and well, we are probably going to see a political capture of the public service media once again, because that's what the governing coalition has said that they will do. They want to split the public service broadcaster into and politically capture it. Even one member of the coalition, one of the chairman of one of the parties, said he wants not a public service broadcaster but a state broadcaster. So the atmosphere for freedom of journalism in Slovakia is really not favorable at the moment.
Yeah, thank you. And look, just very briefly, perhaps you could say, how would you summarize Jan's legacy and his impact on Slovakia's journalists today?
Well, I would say Ján Kuciak was really a great investigative reporter, and thanks to him, many people realized what does it mean and how important investigative journalism is. So, at least in actuality, we really continue this work, and I mean, with analysts and people looking into data and this kind of work that Jan was really good at, and we now have a department of investigative journalists that is probably the biggest in Slovakia. There is an investigative center of Ján Kuciak dedicated to his legacy. So I think this way, or in this topic, we really can say that a lot has improved.
Well, thank you very much again, and good luck for the rest of the commemorations.